So hello. Welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe and also support my small business at latricelimited.com. So, y'all, Marvel is in the news once again. So they have a show called She-Hulk, okay? It's supposed to be like Hulk's cousin, whatnot, whatever. All right, got the gamma rays and whatnot, the blood transfusion, whatever, right? So they're in the news, not for a positive thing this time, as it has been constantly. All right, so there's this whole thing that people are doing. They're doing like these kind of review bombs. Okay, they're saying, in how people describe it as, is this: you have people who have not seen the show, have not seen the episodes, but they don't like it because everyone tells them not to like it. So they're like, okay, well, we're just gonna 1 star, 1 star, 1 star, 1 star, and that's how it happens. So that's how you review bomb, essentially. But I want to look at it from a little bit of a different take, okay? So, and this is something that kind of also happened with Star Wars, Obi-Wan Kenobi, when you had Moses Ingram, okay? That was a completely racially driven one, though. Because they're like, there's no black people in Star Wars. Star Wars is made up, y'all. Just say you're racist and let's move on, okay? At the end of the day. But with this whole She-Hulk controversy, all right, She-Hulk, now this is how I look at it. Me personally, my own personal experiences, Marvel has not been putting out good shows, okay? I have not seen every show that they've put out in this Disney Plus era that they're doing, but from what I have seen, it has not been good, all right? So I looked at, Wanda's vision, which that's what they should call it, is Wanda's vision. Makes a lot of sense. You know, you kidnapped and enslaved a whole bunch of people. It's your vision, and Vision's your dude. You know, not WandaVision, but just add the apostrophe S and let's keep it moving. But whatever. All right, so you got Wanda's vision. All right. And I watched that, and a lot of people, they were like, yeah, the first 3 episodes just weren't good. I like an episode and a half of the first 3. You know, it's like 1.5. Because I just felt like this. Really, and this is the thing. Marvel thinks that because they're Marvel, they could just do whatever they want. Okay. Yeah, we made so many successful movies, so we could just do it however we want to do it. Now, in regards to this, my problem with that one in particular, Wanda's Vision, was the fact that the first 3 episodes, you could have just made 1 episode. Because granted, they weren't really that long anyways, but could have made 1 episode and let's keep it moving. Let's keep the story moving. But you're making like these, we got to have X amount of episodes and we got to do it like this. But I'm like, but this ain't really, you didn't need that. Make it 1 episode, let's keep it moving. Okay. And then, I'm watching some of the other stuff and I'm just like, this is just not good, so if I had to rate it, and I'm gonna use the DT scale on all of this, okay, because that's the only one that I really know right now. If I had to rate it, that would be a FU on that one, just because it wasn't good. It was so bad I couldn't even finish it. I think I had like an episode or 2 episodes left, and I was like, I'm done. I'm already tapped out. Like, this is like not for me. Okay, maybe for you, but it wasn't for me. All right. So I was like, okay, that's that. You had Loki, and everyone's talking about Loki. Oh, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. And I'm like, you know what? Let me go check this Loki out. Let me see what's going on. And I go and watch this, and I was like, wait, didn't you die? And then it was like, oh well, but this is the past, and this is what happened. I was like, okay, fine, let's just go with that. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, this is okay. This is nothing I'm gonna just go and actively seek out. You know what I mean? So I'm like, so if I had to rate that one DT scale, I would give it some OBS. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay. Then you got Hawkeye. Hawkeye comes out and whatnot. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, okay. And so my issue with Hawkeye was this. I'm like, okay, you got this girl supposed to be replacing him essentially. That's really what's happening. They're introducing new characters for the later movies and whatnot. Cool, fine. So I'm watching it. You got the dude with the stash and with the little stash, and I'm looking. I'm like, okay, cool. And then you just they're like, yeah, she's like, yeah, he did it, he's evil, and he did this and it was from that first episode. I'm like, he didn't do any of this. You just secretly, bought a freaking sword, and then you just went and killed somebody right then and there with it. I'm like, that seems a little too good to be true. I'm like, he didn't do any of this. And the whole season is just her saying, oh, he did it, he did it, he did it, he did it. Then you see Hawkeye stuff, and I'm like, okay, this is like, is dumb. And then what you find out that at the end, he didn't do it. No dip. You know what I mean? Of course he didn't do it. I'm like, I called this episode 1 right after you guys said he did it. I was like, he didn't do this. He offers you a mint or whatever. I don't want that. I'm like, okay. I didn't care for her. That one, I would give that one only because Jeremy Renner is actually pretty good in that. I would give that a very low rental. And I was like, okay, y'all shows are good right now, yo. At least to me. Okay, I didn't see the one Falcon and whatever his face is, Winter Soldier dude. I didn't see that. I was like, I'm not gonna waste my time watching that. All right, and I was like, I'm not even gonna really waste my time watching this She-Hulk, but I am gonna see a little clips that people be putting out. And from what I saw, I'm not impressed. There's just a lot of different things about that I'm just like, I'm not digging. I'm just really not digging it. Okay, Marvel's just doing like this weird thing, and I'm like, this stuff is not really entertaining. We could go, Mandalorian was great. Okay, that was great. But we could look at even, and it's still under Disney, so we could even look at the Book of Boba Fett. I would give that a big FU. Because at the end of the day, I mean, it was just a lot of different things about it. You said, oh, well, these Tusken Raiders, or not the Tusken Raiders, the biker dudes, you were like, oh, well, they did this. They killed my people. Oh, man, I'm going to go and kill. And the way you kill them, you go and you get your ship and you hit them from the back. That's how you seek your revenge. You seem so much more noble than that you will want to be faced, at least turn your thing around. But you didn't want to do that. You couldn't do that. I was like, okay. And then you find out who really did it at the end, and then you send your homegirl to go and kill him, and you didn't do that. I was like, okay. Then you got Chrysanthemum, and he's getting hit constantly, and he's like, oh, and then it's like, okay, so he's gonna be done for. He just, maybe not dead, but he's gonna chill out for a little bit. It's like, oh, and then a minute later, he's up here running again. I'm like, what? This doesn't make any sense. And then at the end of this, you want to be a crime boss and all of this, and at the end of the entire freaking season, you say, you know what? I don't think we're cut out for this. What? You just said that means that the entire series was for naught. Nah, F you for that, man. It was absolutely terrible. Yeah, Obi-Wan, I would give that a regular rental. People criticize Moses Ingram only because of racist things. That's really what it was. They just didn't like seeing a black person in anything, but whatever. But my thing with her was a lot of her dialogue just wasn't good. Okay? That was the main thing for me. She didn't appear intimidating to me. It was just like, just because you go like this, I'll get you. I'm like, I'm not buying it, So that was my issue with her. Not necessarily like, oh, well, it's because you're this color. I don't care about that. It was because you're just not that good in the scene. You got the little princess, and she's just, she's supposed to be... She's supposed to be like, what, 10 years old? She's like a 6-year-old. She literally looked like she was 6 years old. Everyone complained about that. You cast her at such a young age is not believable. So you have her talking like this. I'm like, I don't buy it. But she's supposed to be, I don't buy it. So for that was a big FU for that show. So then you're looking at She-Hulk now. All right. And it's like, I don't have any faith in y'all. I'll listen to what other people are saying, and I'm not even gonna waste my time watching it because I've given you my time. and it wasn't good. Seen Black Widow wasn't good. I mean, it was a lot of things that they just are falling down, and they're just not good. So, people talking about review bombs and whatnot. And I'm just like, I'm not feeling it. They're also bringing into these different shows celebrities. Most recently, it's a controversy with this, of course. Everything's a controversy. Everyone wants to get mad. But even with this, for example, they brought in Megan Thee Stallion. She's some kind of black female rapper or whatever. And they're bringing her in. And, there's a scene where she's with She-Hulk and they're both twerking and whatnot. And people are just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Why are we watching her twerk? And it's like you're bringing in stuff that you think, it's like, I don't know if Marvel thinks their audience is like 12 or 15 years old, but there's a lot of people who watch their shows who are older than that. Okay. Like adults, 20s, 30s, even 40s, even older than that. Okay. So it's like, you're putting this out here and it appears anyways that you're trying to appeal to like teenagers for all this stuff. And it's like, oh yeah, and I get it, other people twerk, adults twerk, I get that, fine, I'm not denying that, but I don't want to see that, and I'm sure a lot of other people don't want to see that, and that's why they're complaining. So you have all these people talking about like, oh, review bombing and this and that and third, and y'all just mad because she a woman. Yeah, you do have some people who just absolutely hate women and think that we should just be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. Yeah, that's a fact. You have a lot of people who think that. But at the end of the day, you also have a lot of people who are like me, looking like, okay, well, y'all shows haven't been good. And then they do give this one a try, which I'm done. I'm done with these shows. Until I'm like hearing absolutely raving reviews about every single episode of a show, I'm like done, because you're wasting my time, because they're not good. You give me mediocre dialogue, mediocre plots, and I'm supposed to be cheering this along? No, F that. So you see this and it's like, oh, okay, this isn't really all that good. You got people saying, I'm not a fan of this. I don't really like what you're doing with the character. Oh, you're just a hater. You're just a sexist. And no, it's just not good. If people heard that I gave Boba Fett an FU, you just don't like men being in power. No, I don't like bad stuff. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I don't like bad writing. I don't like lazy writing. I don't like terrible storytelling. I did see Moon Knight. I would give it a low matinee, or probably just a regular matinee. That one was actually good too. They did something different with it. That's what I did like about it. But you have a lot of this stuff has not been good. And no, I have not seen Mrs. Marvel. I have no interest in it. It just didn't look good to me anyways. A lot of the style that was in there, it looked more, it looked like it's for teenagers. So I wasn't into that. Maybe you are. I don't know. I would like to know you guys' thoughts. Like, have you guys seen any of these? What would you rate these? DT scale, or 1 out of 5, or whatever the case may be. Do you think it's just fanboys or fangirls that just absolutely hate everything about women and this and that? Or do you think that there is some truth to it? For me, Marvel has not really been giving me any good shows at all. And Moon Knight I would watch, but even Moon Knight I wasn't like, ooh, I gotta watch it. It just wasn't that good for me personally. Now, a show that was Amazon Prime was The Boys. Okay, now The Boys, I think it was I think they did 3 seasons so far. Now The Boys, now that stuff is good. That I would give it, a better than sex. Really, that's what I would do for that one, because on their scale, of course, that's what I would do for that one, because that show just shocks you. It's just left and right, where you're like, oh my goodness. And for me, it's not many shows that can actually do that. And I'm comparing it to that because that is a superhero show. Okay. If you haven't seen it, definitely watch it. Got to start it from episode 1. Episode 1 would get you hooked. When you see it, you'll be like, what? It is absolutely insane. It's a crazy show, but it's good. They know how to do it well. They execute it perfectly. That's an absolutely great show. And I'm not saying that you're going to have blood and gore in every single thing that you do. You just don't. But you need to have a good story. You need to have a good clutch. You need to bring people in. And you shouldn't just be like, Well, it'll get better on episode 3 or 4. Nah, that's wasted time. If you can't hook somebody on the very first episode, it's not good then. Then it's not good. And you can't expect people to be like, oh, well, and then you get filler episodes. And that was something that bothered me even with Boba Fett. You got a filler episode and we still had storyline that was waiting. I'm still waiting. I'm like, oh, okay, why are we doing a filler? And I got other stuff that's over here that needs to get done. I guess I'm not understanding what's happening. We're just throwing in these filler episodes, but we got big plot lines that are not done. That is a huge problem that I have with them. And it's like, I'm not saying you need to have blood and gore and this and that, but know who your audience is. If your audience are teenage 15, 17-year-olds, fine. Put twerking and booty bouncing in there and twerking on the walls and all that in there. Cool. But if you know that your audience is complaining about certain things, now, racist or sexist, we throwing that out. Okay, we ain't doing that. All right, we ain't having an all white cast just because you want an all white cast. You had almost all of that in Avengers. All right, so let's just keep it moving. All right, so but what I'm saying is, if people are saying, hey, I don't like this, like you have a lot of Star Wars fans who are like, man, Star Wars is great, it's great, it's great, y'all can't say anything about it, you know, but it's like, but your movies ain't good. Yeah, but it's good. No, yeah, you just said it wasn't. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to expect more. You have to ask for more, demand for more, or say, I ain't watching your stuff. You know, you can't just keep accepting mediocrity just because, oh, well, they're Marvel and they'll get better with time. Nah, I'm not watching your stuff. If everyone was like, we ain't watching it. So you're going to have to pull these episodes off. You're going to have to restart, or you're going to have to do something. Maybe I'll need to have some focus groups going on or something, because y'all ain't doing something right. All right. Because y'all movies, cool. All right. But this stuff that y'all putting out is really not that good. And it's like, I get you don't want to just judge a show episode by episode by episode. You want to judge as a whole. But as I said, I watched all of Loki, all of Hawkeye, all of Wanda's Vision, all of Book of Boba Fett, all of Obi-Wan, all of whatever the other thing was, you know, Mandalorian even. Mandalorian was the best one. I would give that one is not a better than sex, but it's a very high full price. I would give that just because of the character, how it was acted, you know, the story, everything with that. But this is just not good. These have not been good. You know, out of all those, you have Moon Knight, who is the only one that received, and for me, a matinee rating. That's not good, you know. And all those other shows, and even Moon Knight in there as well. I'm gonna be real, I'm not rewatching this stuff, you know. And it's like, you just don't have a rewatchability. You look at Mandalorian, you can rewatch that. You want to watch The Boys, you can rewatch that. But a lot of this other stuff is just kind of like, yeah, it's there. It's just more content. And this is why people are also getting this Marvel burnout as well, because you're not providing me with something that's actually good. It's just, I'm going to just keep throwing a whole bunch of stuff at you, and whatever one is good, that's the one that'll stick. And it's like, but people aren't really interested in that. And that's the problem that we have going on. And then you have She-Hulk, and she's not really, I mean, yeah, you got the whole fourth wall thing that's going on as well. You know, whether you like that or not, fine. If you like Deadpool, then you'll like it. But it's just the way that her character is. And I get it's more comedic, you know, and people are like, oh, but it's like a sitcom and whatnot. But for me, it just isn't. It's I'm not digging it. I'm not feeling it. All right. Can you dig it? I can't. All right. And that's the problem. You know, I just feel like they really need to look at who the audience is, look at what they're actually putting out there, and see, like, do people really want to see it looking like this? You know, all the money you got, there's no reason for it. Those are my thoughts and opinions, and I would love to hear yours. And until then.